Money laundering is the practice of transferring funds gained through illegal activities like gambling, drug trafficking, corruption, or embezzlement into a legitimate source in order to conceal its true source. With different definitions, it is illegal in numerous jurisdictions. Typically, it is a crucial element of organized crime. Money laundering is the process of conducting financial transactions to disguise the identity, source, or destination of money that has been obtained unlawfully, according to U.S. law. The common law concept is broader under UK law. Taking any action with property of any type that is either entirely or partially the proceeds of a crime that will conceal the fact that that property is the proceeds of a crime or obscure the beneficial ownership of such property is the definition of the offense. Money laundering used to only refer to financial activities associated with organized crime in the past. Government and international regulators, including the U.S. Office of the Comptroller of the Currency, frequently broaden this definition today to include any financial transaction which generates an asset or a value as a result of an illegal act, which may include deception in accounting or tax evasion. Any economic good may be involved in the UK. Money is not even necessary. Money laundering cases are handled in court by private citizens, drug dealers, businesses, corrupt authorities, mafia members, and even entire states. Money laundering has taken center stage in discussions of politics, economics, and the law as financial crime has grown more complex and financial intelligence has gained greater respect in the fight against terrorism and transnational crime. Money laundering is inherently unlawful since the actions that produce the money are almost always unlawful in some other way, for if not, the money would not need to be laundered. During the American Prohibition of the 1930s, laws prohibiting money laundering were developed to use against organized crime. Prohibition gave organized crime a significant boost and provided a significant new source of funding, which came from the sale of alcohol illegally. The successful conviction of Al Capone for tax evasion changed the focus of the state and law enforcement agencies to track down and seize money, but once gangsters began paying their taxes, existing tax evasion laws were no longer applicable. In an effort to trace and seize the revenues of drug offenses in order to apprehend the organizers and people in charge of operating drug empires, governments once more turned to money laundering laws in the 1980s. From the perspective of law enforcement, it also had the advantage of upside down the rules of evidence. In order to seize someone's property, law enforcement often needs to establish their guilt. However, under money laundering rules, money can be taken from someone, and in order to get it back, they will need to demonstrate that the money came from a legal source. 1. Due to the substantially lighter burdens of proof, law enforcement organizations have it much simpler. Some law enforcement organizations, however, have exploited this procedure to take money and keep it without solid proof of associated criminal conduct in order to bolster their own budgets. Money laundering includes the following actions: converting or transferring property, hiding or masking the source of the proceeds, acquiring, possessing, or using property while knowing that it was obtained through criminal activity, and taking part in or facilitating the movement of money in order to make the proceeds appear legitimate. In order for banks and other financial institutions to deal with money obtained through certain crimes, such as extortion, insider trading, drug trafficking, and illicit gambling, without raising any red flags, it must first be cleaned to make it seem as though it came from legitimate sources. There are numerous ways to launder money, all of varying intricacy and complexity. Three steps are typically involved in money laundering: placement, layering, and acquisition of wealth resulting from the use of illicit funds. Placement is the process of introducing cash into the financial system. Layering is the process of hiding the cash's illicit source through complex financial transactions, integration. Depending on the situation, some of these actions may not be taken. For instance, it would not be necessary to place non-cash proceeds that are already in the financial system. Although there are many different ways to launder money, most methods fall under one of only a few categories. Bank techniques, smithing, currency exchanges, and double invoicing are a few of these. Structuring, also referred to as smoothing, is a placement technique where cash is divided up into smaller deposits in order to bypass anti-money laundering reporting requirements and dispel suspicions of money laundering. This includes buying bearer instruments like money orders with smaller sums of cash, depositing those bearer instruments later with even smaller quantities of cash. Bulk cash smuggling. This is transporting cash illegally to another country in order to deposit it in a bank there that provides more lax money laundering regulations or more bank secrecy. Cash-intensive companies. Using this technique, a company that generally expects to receive a substantial amount of its revenue in cash deposits cash that has been obtained illegally. The overlap between organized crime and corporate crime is a common result of this form of money laundering. Such businesses frequently conduct their operations in the open, generating both legal and illegal cash money in the process. In these circumstances, the company will typically declare that all money received was earned legally. The ideal candidates for this strategy are service businesses since they typically have little or no variable costs and/or a high ratio of revenue to variable costs, which makes it challenging to identify inconsistencies between sales and expenses. Parking garages, strip clubs, tanning beds, car washes, arcades, pubs, restaurants, casinos, barbershops, DVD shops, and resorts on the beach are a few examples. One of the newest and most intricate types of money laundering is trade-based laundering. In order to conceal the movement of money, this entails undervaluing or overvaluing bills. Due to various distinctive features of art, such as the subjective worth of works of art and the confidentiality of auction houses regarding the identity of the buyer and seller, the art market has, for instance, been accused of being the perfect vehicle for money laundering. Trusts and shell firms. Trusts and shell companies hide the real owners of financial assets. Depending on the jurisdiction, trusts and corporate vehicles are exempt from the requirement to reveal their true owner. Occasionally known as a rat hole, but the phrase often refers to a person posing as the fictional owner rather than the actual company. Round-tripping. In this scheme, funds are transferred to an offshore-owned foreign corporation, ideally one located in a tax haven with scant record-keeping requirements, and then sent back as a tax-free foreign direct investment. An alternative to approach is to send money to a law firm or other such institution as monies on account of costs, cancel the retainer, and then, after the money is paid, present the amounts obtained from the attorneys as a bequest under a will or lawsuit proceeds. Reverse money laundering is the process of disguising the source of legitimate monies that will be utilized for illicit activities. It is typically carried out to support terrorists, but it can also be employed by criminal groups that have invested in legitimate enterprises and want to take genuine money out of circulation. Unaccounted funds obtained through covert financial activities are excluded from official financial reporting and may be used to pay under-the-table salaries, pay bribes, and evade taxes. In Russia and other former Soviet Union nations, the issue of such fraudulent encashment techniques, or obmilika, has gotten quite bad. The Russian Federation, Ukraine, Turkey, Serbia, Kyrgyzstan, Uzbekistan, Armenia, and Kazakhstan have all experienced a significant decline in their tax bases and a shift in the money supply's composition in favor of cash, according to the Eurasian Group on Combating Money Laundering and Financing of Terrorism, EAG. These procedures have made it more difficult to plan and govern the economy and have helped the shadow economy to expand. That was for today. Thank you for staying with us. Don't forget to like our video and subscribe to our channel.